Hi, my name is Earl G. I'm a recovering addict, and about 6 years, 3 months ago, I walked into this room, pretty much a broken shell of a man. I just done 9 years in the state penitentiary. I had no social skills, no mechanical skills, and this room ultimately saved my life, you know, after 40 years of heroin addiction. I came to this room. I haven't found it necessary to get loaded since. And this place was being run by another organization, and they decided they were shutting it down after 30 plus years of meetings here. And my friend Joe, who you'll be hearing from, he decided to take over the lease and asked me to come on board with him. And there's been a few of us here, and what we do here is if you come in off the streets and you're looking for some help, we will place you for a couple days here, and we'll put a couple of meals in you and get you cleaned up and find a place for you to go, either sober living or treatment, and ultimately save your life, man. You know, I'm from the streets. I know what addiction's all about. I know the hardships of it. I know the mental aspect of it, and we're here to help. You know, we're a nonprofit organization. We're not looking for no spotlight. We're just looking to save lives. And you hear me say that a lot, because saving lives is what this thing is all about. And I'm proud to be on board with this. I hope you come by and take a look at what we got going here. It's a beautiful thing, and thank you very much for your time.
My name is Joe. I'm a recovering addict, and here we are at the Hope Center, Westside Hope Center. And this facility has been here for 35 plus years, and what had happened was the original people, it was a foundation. They moved out, and they left all the 12-step meetings that were here basically out to dry. And myself and a couple other guys stepped in and took over the lease. And what we do now is we facilitate 12-step meetings here. We have Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, al-anon, Spanish-speaking AA, Spanish-speaking al-anon meetings are here. And we kept the doors open for this purpose, to facilitate these meetings. And also, through keeping the doors open, some other people have come through those doors with some ideas and some visions, and a new mission, which is to facilitate and to help people that are basically on the front lines of addiction, mental health, homelessness, nowhere to go. So we turn this place into basically a front line position, where whoever comes through that door, we're willing to help them and to facilitate them to detoxes, recovery houses, a couple days off the street. We can do that for them here. Eventually, we'd like to do more, but right now that's in our parameter. And so anybody that basically comes through that door is we try to help them any way we can, you know. And it doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, or anything like that. If they're asking for help and they're willing, you know, we're trying to do what we can for them. And that's basically our mission right now, and we have some visions of expanding our services and doing you know, some intensive outpatient treatment here, some trigger meetings, drug testing, sober living house is in the future, you know, things along that line. But right now, basically, we're just trying to get this thing off the ground, keep the doors open, pay the rent, pay the utilities, and you know, we're looking for people to help us in that area. And you know, that's about it for now. Thank you.
How you doing? I'm Evan James. I'm the Director of Intervention Services here at the Westside Hope Center. I came about my position basically on my way out of town, so to speak. By the grace of God, I'm coming up on 27 years clean and sober. And about a year ago, I had every intention of moving back to my hometown, New York City. I had kind of become disillusioned with Los Angeles and kind of felt a bit isolated out here and not real comfortable. And I stopped in here for a meeting one day, and I immediately felt the warmth, the love, the support, the nurturing, and that's where I met this guy named Joe, who you'll probably see at some point during our little message here on the website. And I saw that Joe basically was trying to keep this place together on just his blood, sweat, and tears. And I knew that with my background as a drug and alcohol counselor, as an intervention specialist, as the director of family services for the nonprofit TAPS, that I could lend a helping hand. And I felt like I had a purpose in life that was the Westside Hope Center. So over the past year, I have done my interventions, and I've intervened on some of the kids that you've met along the way as you watched our message here. And these are kids who have felt like they were not a part of. These are kids who have went to programs where, for whatever reason, they just didn't fit in. And I've learned in my recovery that one of the biggest things for us in life, for anybody, for humanity, is the need to fit in. A little bit about my background. I was born and raised in Spanish Harlem, New York. At about the age of 16, my father brought me to California, and I got very involved in athletics and was a high school All-American in several sports. But across the street from my high school, there was a gang whom I felt more comfortable with than anybody I'd ever felt comfortable with in my life. They felt like a family to me. And I made a poor choice at that time, and that was to link up with the gang instead of continue with my athletic career. By October 26th of 1987, I was living in a gas station bathroom, weighing about 150 pounds, spitting up blood, smoking cocaine, wanting to die, asking God to allow me to die. And I wandered out of that bathroom trying to get hit by a car, begging to get hit by a car. But instead, I happened upon a church. And at that church, there was a Narcotics Anonymous meeting going on. And some guy named John Finger reached out his hand and said, "Hey, brother, why don't you come on in? We're having a meeting here." And that was the last time I ever got high. And I say all that to say that what is unique about the Westside Hope Center and what we bring to the table is that we have individuals like myself, like Joe, like Earl, like Manuel, like Rory, who come from all different walks of life, who don't come necessarily from a suit and tie type of background, to reach out to these kids and meet them where they are without judgment. We provide many different services here. We provide intervention services, as I mentioned. We provide transitional housing. We provide placement services. We provide intensive outpatient services. We provide sober coaching and aftercare and tracking and homeless services and services obviously for veterans. This place is a very special place, a very unique place. If you can find it in your heart to help us, we'd appreciate it. If not, we understand, and we're going to keep on trudging that road to happy destiny. Thank you for listening to what I had to say.
My name is Juan Manuel Juarez. Everyone here at the Hope Center knows me as Manuel. And what I do here is I give groups and I try to help people find jobs, and we also place them on programs if they're detoxing, they have mental issues. That's basically my job. How I got involved here is basically the program who had this building left it, and a friend of mine stepped up to the plate to keep the doors open. And little bit by little bit, I sort of made my way in here because there's so much that I can relate to. I can relate to the pain. I can relate to not having a job. I can relate to being homeless, being a drug addict, and with having 9 years clean, it's about time that I give back for for what like this building and these people have done and helped me. So that's basically
How you got involved?
how I got involved.
And what?
My hopes for the center is that it grows to the point where we have major resources. We're operating on a shoestring, and we're hoping that that our fundraising will bring in the money that we need to give the people that come through here adequate treatment, and because everything is expensive. That's what my major hope is that we continue, we find the backing to get the resources and the finance to keep the Hope Center's doors open. And I would like to also say that all the information that you need is on the website, and you'll find the telephone numbers, and you're free to come here to walk through the building and see what we do. And we have classes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for the remaining of the summer. And I like to see every one of you, meet you guys.
My name is Scott G. I was basically raised in Queens, New York, Douglaston Bayside area. I was having a long run of making progressively worse and worse decisions, hanging around the wrong people, getting involved in things that I shouldn't have been getting involved in. After that, my family coordinated with my counselor, Evan James, and we got me out here to introduce myself to a new group of people, to a new place, and it's been very good. I was introduced to a community that's very supportive. As a newcomer, they welcomed me with open arms, and it's been a very positive experience. It's really helped turn myself around.
And how long have you been clean now? What's going on in your life currently?
I've been clean. It's 23 days now that I've been clean. I just started a new job about 2 days ago, and it's been good. I have plans for the future. I mean, back home I didn't really have plans other than getting loaded, and now I feel like I have a good future ahead of me.
My name is Vinny. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and presently just turned 31 years old. About 16 years ago, started using drugs and made the worst decision of my life. And over the years, I've been dealing with the psychological destruction that drug use has used. And more recently, I had the hardest run of my life, where I finally, after all these years, hit rock bottom. I was living with my mom in New York, and I ruined a great opportunity. I was gonna have a restaurant given to me after 10 years in the restaurant industry, and I threw that in the garbage because I wanted to get wasted for a week straight. And I told my mom I wanted help, and her response was she contacted a gentleman by the name of Evan James, and he came out, and we rendezvoused in Queens, and gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, and that was to come out to the Hope Center and start walking a more righteous path, which is what I've been doing, and I like it. Things I could never imagine. My life has gotten way better, and I'm looking forward to it getting better. I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen in the day. I never wanted to wake up before. If I didn't have drugs to wake up to, it kind of sucked. I didn't want to go to work. Now it's, I feel like a teenager all over again. I don't know if that's good, but I'm enjoying it. And this place is cool. Like, the moment I walked in here, I had my scarf, my hat, my winter gear, straight off the plane from New York. And, I felt the warmth, not only from the clothing I had on, but from the people in the room. And, I don't even feel that in my house, Got a lot of hostility in the house I grew up in. And, I feel like this is my family more so than my own family. And, as cliche as it sounds, I don't like to say that, Evan's been like a father to me. He's more like an uncle to me. you know, he's helping me deal with all these psychological things, that the destruction that I spoke about earlier, to whereas I don't feel like a leper no more. I don't feel like an outcast. I take into context, the stupid things I do, and I'm using it to make myself stronger, as opposed to being like, oh damn it, I did this back in the day, I'm a loser. Now I'm like, okay, I did this back in the day, now I know how to deal with it and progress from it, yada yada yada. And it's like night and day. And 3 months was all it took, and I couldn't imagine, man, agreeing to get on that flight that day was probably the best decision I've ever made, as opposed to that bad decision I made 16 years ago. So thank you to the Hope Center, to Evan, to the friends I made around here, to everybody that's been my support system, Joe, Earl. It's a wonderful experience. I would request, if you got a problem with drugs, this is the place you want to be, And, I've did rehabs before, and they were all garbage. They're all gimmicks. They're all bogus. This is the real deal. I like it. And you'll see me around here for a while.
My name is Jenny. I'm 25 years old. I live in Los Angeles, but I'm originally from Northern California. I have struggled with addiction from an early age. I was living on the streets with the wrong people, doing a lot of really terrible things. Definitely nothing legal. I was really just uncomfortable with myself. I always wanted something outside of me to make myself feel comfortable, and I always really wanted to be accepted. At first it was not doing well in school, having to lie to my family and friends, and then there were bigger consequences, having to leave home, losing jobs, losing friends, getting arrested. I went through detox. I went through a residential treatment program. I went through sober living. When I was in sober living, I came to the center almost every day. Part of being clean is having a lot of structure, and there are meetings here all the time. Joe and Earl, they would see me and they'd be like, oh, hi Jenny, how are you doing today? It's good to see you. My experience with men over the last couple of years had been just terrible. So here are these two men now in my life who I feel like I can trust and I have a good relationship with, and who are just so loving. They were the people that drove me to my doctor's appointments, took me to school. I'll watch Joe go get someone a cup of coffee. I'll watch Earl, pick up trash, at the end of the meeting. I'll watch these guys mop the floor for the next meeting that comes in. They just want to give back. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and to care. For them to go out on a limb and do this is really amazing. I'm really proud of them.